Welcome to A Cyster and Her Mister, a podcast where we show you the real behind the scenes of how we balance the PCOS lifestyle in our marriage, gluten and dairy free. I'm Taline, your fellow sister and registered dietitian.
And I'm Sirak, husband, engineer, and PCOS personal trainer. We're going to make PCOS a little less overwhelming and a lot more fun.
Cyster and Her Mister.
What a day, Tony. We just had a full day of walking around in gardens of a garden called of Roger.
Roger's Garden is this place here in Newport. It's like a nursery, and they have the most beautiful flowers. And Sidak promised me today that we would buy one.
With the fantasy football winnings I had, because let's just say I won just several $100s, and because I caused so much stress to Taline, I promised her that I would get her something with that money I won, with that portion of money.
So I demanded flowers, like a pot that I can put outside on the patio.
I mean, I expected that we're gonna get like a cool big plant. Like I was expecting something we could hang off the roof of the patio and just like it's like beautiful.
That would have been nice, to be honest.
And then as we're walking around this place, Taline all of a sudden goes, "Hey, how about we get four small plants and pot them here in this big..."
Is that what I sound like? So we got, there's this little area you can pot things. So we potted our own flowers. We picked some. And we had a relaxing day because we've been a little stressed lately.
Yeah. I mean, we've been working really hard, and between personal life and work life, you barely get time to really relax. I mean, I barely could wake up today. I was so tired from the week and like every day waking up to go to work and then working late at night and then just, the lack of sleep, I'm sure. I mean,
he literally rolled out of bed, slid his body, one leg, then the next, like and then just slipped out of the bed.
It was just like, I feel like when I'm sleeping, someone is injecting some sort of like drug into me to keep me asleep, like, and I'm fighting this person to wake up. Like it's a battle. Like I'm like, no, like like when like this in the movies when somebody wakes up in the hospital and they rip off all the wires off their body and they're like, "Oh, get me out of here." That's me, but I can't do it because somebody is injecting so much stuff into me that I just can't get out. That's how I feel. It is like when I'm when
he's sleeping. Yeah. Ever since I've known him, he's loved sleep. And I really think that it's because you never would get enough sleep before we moved in together. He had like a 1.5 hour commute to work and then a 1.5 or 2 hour commute back home. Mm-hmm. And you'd have to wake up at like 5 and then stay up all night studying and doing all of the things you want to do and then sleeping at 12 and day after day, the same horrible sleep schedule. Yeah. I think you just have like, an off stress hormone situation like most sisters out there. And this is how you are an honorary sister.
We haven't made that official yet. But yeah, it's gotten a little bit better now that we got married and we moved in together. My schedule is so much easier now that I live closer to work. But I think I have some improvement.
There's still room for improvement.
Yeah, with sleep and just, balancing out the stress hormones for me.
Yeah, I think we're just sleeping too late at night now. Yeah. Because you have to wake up so early.
And, I mean, this wasn't like how we wanted to start the episode, but like it perfectly syncs with the topic of the episode, which is adrenal fatigue, stress, anxiety. And like how all that links together and ways we can kind of prevent and resolve those issues.
Yeah, oftentimes sisters think that the stress and anxiety is like them, who, their personality. Oh, it's just me. I'm just like this. But really, it's your hormones triggering this situation, this like mental state. And so once you understand what's happening underneath it all, then you'll be more inclined to make certain changes that we'll talk about later in this episode.
And it's and it's not just like it's not just like, oh, your hormones are causing it. Well, your hormones are causing it because something is triggering your hormones. So like what maybe something external, affecting you to make your hormones become triggered like that.
Yeah. So let's get down to the bottom of this.
Yeah, let's start. Why don't you start, babe?
What is happening with our hormones? So basically, we have these little adrenal glands on top of our kidneys, and they pump our stress hormones. And so when they pump our stress hormones, when we're stressed, and we'll talk about what triggers this type of stress and what you can do about it, this causes more cortisol to be made and less progesterone to be made. Progesterone is a hormone that we are supposed to have to ovulate and to, get our periods regular and get healthy skin. And it affects our GABA hormone. So if you have progesterone, it supports GABA, and that's a calming neurotransmitter.
I hear progesterone all the time, like online, when I go through like different PCOS like articles or like pieces of information, and I always see progesterone as one of those hormones that are like important for your PCOS health. So,
and everyone's always asking too, like, how do I get my progesterone up? And like, my progesterone's low, and what's happening? So we'll talk about how to get your progesterone back in order. And once that's in order, a lot of your symptoms will clear up, including your stress.
Yeah.
And
like what Talian said, progesterone calms you down because it helps support what's called GABA, which is a neurotransmitter that puts a stop to the panic and stress.
Right. And
she mentioned cortisol. So high cortisol blocks progesterone receptors, which means that you cannot efficiently use the little progesterone that you are making. So because like you have PCOS, you may already struggle to create this progesterone, and then the high cortisol is not going to block those receptors, and therefore you're not going to efficiently use it.
Progesterone that you even have.
Yeah. And the other day I was listening to a podcast, and it wasn't related to PCOS, and the podcast was this neuroscientist, and he was talking about cortisol and how it relates to like pretty much people getting sick and disease. And he said this one thing that was really intriguing to me. He said cortisol, when your body releases high amounts of cortisol, which is a stress hormone, your body is sending all this blood to your limbs, to your legs, to your hands, to your brain, like your head. Basically, is trying to give you all this, make you ready to get into fight or flight mode, which is why stress. You feel stress. So when that happens, not only is your limbs full of blood and your body is ready to fight or fly, but it stops all of your regenerative processes in your body. What does that mean? That means like all the things that your body uses to recover, the recovery process, it shuts that down. So like when your body needs to recover, like the nails, your skin, hair growth, acne, all those things that when you sleep your body is trying to recover, all that gets shut down because all your body cares about is
producing cortisol to survive.
All it cares about is surviving that moment because it thinks you're in some sort of situation. So that's why like we say cortisol and lowering cortisol is so important. You don't want to make your body think you're in this state, and that relates to like working out. And like when you work out like over exercise, which is another reason why you get adrenal fatigue, is you overwork out, over exercise, and your cortisol is raised. And I let Talian continue here because I've been talking for
that's right. And especially like you said, at night when we regenerate, our hair and our cells regenerate at night when we sleep. Women with PCOS often have insomnia, and because of cortisol levels being high at night and low during the day, which is you should have enough energy during the day. It should be high during the day and then low at night so you relax. But if it's high at night, you can't sleep, your cells aren't regenerating, you're probably going to suffer from hair loss and all of these things. And then it's also really hard to lose weight because that cortisol makes the fat accumulate in the stomach area. And that's why women with PCOS really struggle with the stomach area more than anything.
Yeah, that really relates to sleep too, because if you have any sleep issues like insomnia and you just have trouble like falling asleep, it's most likely to do with the cortisol levels in your body, like being triggered from coffee, probably, or maybe over exercising.
Yeah, coffee, over exercising. We have a whole bunch of different triggers we're going to get into.
Yeah, let's get into those.
Yeah, but before we do, I just want to mention that estrogen dominance is another issue for women with PCOS. Many women have this. If you get your hormones checked, you can see if you have it. Don't just take a supplement for it willy-nilly without seeing if you actually have estrogen dominance. And this often happens when we have like like hormone disrupting chemicals in our environment, or it's basically a hormonal issue that most women with PCOS suffer with, that affect your mood, because compared to progesterone, if your estrogen is higher and your progesterone never surpasses it, so that you can ovulate and all of these wonderful things to happen when you have higher progesterone, because your estrogen is too high, then anxiety. And I've taken a supplement for estrogen dominance before called Vitex, and it really helped.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, it was really good. And then I took it for like too long. I took it for 2 months. And then by the 3rd month, I was like, oh my gosh, this is too much for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then I had to stop.
What did you feel?
Anxiety. Because it was like,
I
yeah, every time I woke up in the morning, I had anxiety, because every time I took the pill, and I was like, I think I'm done with this supplement.
Yeah.
Like, it did its job. So be your own doctor, if you feel right on something or not. Speaking of that, we'll talk about birth control.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so let's get into triggers of stress and adrenal fatigue and anxiety in PCOS.
Yes. So let's see. So one of the major triggers is inflammation.
Something we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
Inflammation, like we always say, is one of the causes of disease and basically
Underlying
your body
issue.
aging.
Yeah.
And all the underlying issues of your body. When you have inflammation, your body's trying to fight it. It's using all of its resources to fight inflammation.
Yeah, and your cortisol is higher, your stress hormones are higher, because you're in a chronic state of inflammation, because you're constantly eating or doing the things that are causing inflammation, gluten and dairy.
Exactly. So if you're gluten and dairy free, you've already taken out all the food triggers, all the triggers like food, you're taking that out, which is like the number one most important thing.
Yeah, you could take a food sensitivity test to see if you have other food triggers, but the main ones are usually gluten and dairy. And so once you take that out, like you said, it can help so much with your mood, to the point where if you eat gluten and dairy, you'll feel like one of my clients told me, she has like anger, like she literally feels rage, anger, and discomfort like in her body when she eats gluten and dairy after she started cutting it out. And it's interesting because a study showed that women with PCOS have low serotonin, which is like the feel-good neurotransmitter. And so what we eat is really important, because 400 times more serotonin is found in your gut, in your stomach, than in your brain. So if you're eating foods that are inflammatory and it's ruining like the lining of your stomach, how I mentioned in the other episodes where your body releases zonulin, and those tight junctions that hold your stomach together loosen up and cause particles to get out and cause chronic inflammation in your bloodstream, in your body. Yeah. And when you're ruining the integrity of your stomach lining by eating inflammatory foods, you're also disrupting your serotonin levels, which is 400 times more in your stomach.
Yeah, there was actually a recent study, like they found a couple of years ago, where they found all of these brain receptors, or I should say neurotransmitters, like cells in the stomach, and that's why they found that probiotics are very, very important and for gut health, and also for like depression, stress, anxiety. And they've seen that probiotics help with preventing Alzheimer's, dementia, and other mental issues. So like you would never think that the stomach and the brain are so connected, but now like it's been shown that in fact so much of this is connected between what you eat. So if you constantly eat things that are bad, like Tanya mentioned, you're gonna put your stomach in a state of bad state. Therefore, you're gonna have possibly like stress, anxiety as a result, mental problems.
Exactly. Exactly. So if you know that gluten and dairy is a trigger for you and it's causing you harm, then you need to like take care of that, and that doesn't go for everyone, but most of the people listening are trying to go gluten and dairy free probably, or thinking about it. And so you try it for a couple months, you see if it works for you. And if you're feeling a difference, then for sure, it's not only about weight, it's also about how you're feeling, like mentally, and if your stomach is bloated and so on.
Yeah.
So another trigger is blood sugar issues. And so I know 70% of women with PCOS have insulin resistance. So this is a big one because that insulin triggers high testosterone. And then when you have high testosterone, your mood also changes from that too.
Yeah.
So, and that also lowers progesterone as well.
Yeah. And something you've taken with the blood sugar issues is the Ovasitol, or you mentioned that it helps with these blood sugar issues is Ovasitol. You can take that and it really help with that dizziness if you're feeling dizzy, or if you have headaches, cravings.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you're having a lot of insulin resistance, so that insulin is floating around in your bloodstream triggering high testosterone, and this demonic craving that we talked about in that episode about cravings, that horrible feeling you're just gonna die if you don't eat something with sugar or carbs, that
person wanted to get their Bible and read a verse because they were like feeling demonic.
Yeah, Ovasitol helps with that. That is what it targets. It helps with that insulin resistance.
Caffeine.
So this is a good one.
Yeah, like I do this to myself sometimes, and I don't have PCOS, again with that statement. Sometimes I'll drink, a little bit too much coffee, and I'll notice right away, like an hour later, I'm feeling tense. I'm feeling like I'm overreacting to, like, you see something in the corner of your eye and you just turn around. Because again, you're just like, you raise your stress hormones up because your body is not used to high, like that much caffeine all the time. So, or caffeine at all. And that same thing goes to you, sisters, is try to like basically take caffeine out of your diet, or like it might cause like adrenal fatigue and your stress hormones to go up.
Yeah. And maybe you don't even realize it because your stress hormones are already up all the time. And this is just like a thing that contributes to it, but you're just in a chronic state of stress. You don't even know.
Totally. If you take out the coffee, you'll probably notice that you're not getting the jitters, or you're not getting that, like, that where like you're trying to think, but your brain is going too fast.
Yeah.
Like all that feeling is most likely because of coffee. Like I've had the same issue. So like I've reduced my coffee intake to like 2 to 3 cups. But obviously, if you have PCOS, try to just eliminate coffee.
Just eliminate it for like
Tallene
the
doesn't
first
drink
3
coffee.
months.
Tallene doesn't have any caffeine.
I don't have any caffeine. Even if you have fatigue, that will clear up as your hormones balance, as your cortisol levels balance, and everything, the inflammation is targeted and everything, your fatigue will go away. The coffee is not going to help it go away. You shouldn't be fatigued all day long. That's a hormonal issue that coffee can't fix for you. Yeah.
And if you love the taste of coffee like me, try to go to decaf, although decaf has low amounts of caffeine in it still, but it's still better than, a cup of coffee. Yeah.
Speaking of, like I said, being used to that state of stress, there's over-exercising. So a lot of women are like going really hard at the gym because you really want to lose weight, and the doctor was like, go and lose weight, do your thing. Yeah. And that adrenaline rush, that feeling you get from like working out really hard, feels good in that moment. It's almost addicting, and your body is like, wants to be at that level. But it's actually afterwards like not so good for your hormones because of that cortisol and stress hormone rush you get from doing intense cardio and things like that.
And it's not even just like, in my opinion, as a PCOS personal trainer, but even just as a personal trainer, like I've been working out for pretty much 15 years and longer if I consider like my kid years. But like I've always noticed from when I used to overwork out that I wouldn't recover as well. I would come back to the gym and my muscles, it would be aching, and I just wouldn't be able to perform. And I just saw like my body wasn't like recovering and getting into the shape I wanted to be. And then like through the years, I learned that I had to cut back on the sets, the reps, cut back on the intensity just a little bit. And I saw a much better improvement in like how my body performed, how it looked. And so the same goes to like to you all, like if you're trying to lose weight or just be in good shape, a lot of times going like scaling it back a little is going to really do wonders.
It's actually going to help you.
Yeah,
slowing your workouts.
Yeah, it's going to give your body a chance to recover, which is like the number one thing you want after your workout.
Yeah, think of how you feel after your workout, because oftentimes when we're like taking all these like caffeine supplements or pre-workout, post-workout, whatever that's like pumping us up during the workout, afterwards you just want to crash. Like you just can't hang the next day because you're so tired. Your body's like beat from all of that.
Yeah. And another topic that relates to adrenal fatigue and stress hormones that is a trigger is birth control. I'll let Twan talk about this one.
If you're taking birth control, it can deplete a lot of nutrients. So vitamin B, vitamin D, all of these things that help with your mood are not being absorbed as well because of birth control. Not just that, it's completely taking over your hormonal balance. It doesn't matter if they say it's a low dose or this is the lowest dose of whatever. It still can trigger a hormonal reaction in your body that affects your mood and multiple other things. It's like a cascade effect that it has. So if you choose to take birth control, then you have to be really careful with self-assessment. If you don't feel right, if you feel like you're off for a long time, or the scale is creeping up because it's affecting your hormones, and you are your best doctor. Nobody is forcing you to take any type of medication. You can do whatever is right for you, and you need to self-assess and see, like, is this helping? Do I feel okay right now? Or evaluate if you want to look at other options, because oftentimes you're like cornered at the doctor's office and they tell you like, this is your only option. They don't elaborate.
You don't know anybody else
they're not gonna say gluten and dairy free. Like they just know the facts, the scientific, studies and whatever they have learned from school. What they're going to provide you is metformin, ovasitol, spirulactone. Metformin, spirulactone, and birth control, not ovasitol. That's a supplement. Yeah. And if you want to go any further than that, you have to
research yourself.
Find us.
Or like find like a PCOS specialist, hopefully, that knows about all these things. But obviously, like, birth control is your choice, and it's at the end of the day, like, you should do what you think is right for your body. But our suggestion, as Tali mentioned, is try to go maybe like through the natural way first, through like maybe ovasitol, and then trying to gluten dairy-free diet. Those two things are like big staples in reversing your symptoms naturally. And obviously after that, I think like birth control could be an option if you don't see like your where you're at.
I think I beg to differ, because if you don't see results going gluten and dairy free, taking ovasitol, if you're one of few people that don't see any results from doing that, there is so much you can do to understand your hormones. You can get a hormone test. You can see if your estrogen is too high or your progesterone is low, or your testosterone.
Dig further. Don't just stop there. Don't just stop and go to birth control after those two things. Dig further, see what else. Okay, I like that. You know what? I stopped at step after step 2. I should have
reroute.
Right. Well, I'm not. You're the PCOS dietitian.
A lot of people think that they get discouraged and they're like, I'm just gonna go on birth control. This is too much for me.
Your white sweater.
I know there's dirt on my sweater from going to Roger's garden and potting 4 plants.
That's true.
Okay.
So before we go on to like fixing
what you can do about all of this.
What you can do. We should just mention not to like target vegans or vegetarians or anything like that. We're all
friends here.
But we just wanted to just make a suggestion here, or like just make a note here in case you are vegan and vegetarian
and you're experiencing anxiety.
And you have anxiety. Studies have shown that if you don't get enough protein, and you're not getting those specific amino acids that make those neurotransmitters and hormones work, and also such things as iron and zinc, omega-3s, B vitamins, all those things that come from meat are like very important, and they're directly related to anxiety, stress, adrenal fatigue, and basically balancing all those out. So just be aware. And
I see a lot of clients who are vegan or vegetarian experiencing anxiety because of nutrient deficiencies. Like this.
Yeah. So try to like
supplement.
At least supplement those things if you can't eat meat,
Yeah.
So
go pescatarian.
Yeah, if that's an option.
Okay, so what can we do with all of this information? Now you know some of the triggers, what's happening hormonally.
All this is reversible.
All of this is reversible. Yes. So what can you do to target all of this? So there's supplements, omega-3 fats.
Well, we should first, I think, mention like the all the things we talked about, all the triggers. So to prevent these things, try to avoid coffee and any caffeine products, like pretty much as much as you can all the time.
Sugar.
And trying to avoid inflammatory foods such as gluten, dairy, or like just get those out of your diet, and you're gonna get pretty much rid of all the inflammation. Most, if not all, because of everything else you're doing in your life, right?
Yeah.
So. And great supplements that you can take are omega-3s.
Yes. Right, so, they're essential in building your brain. And like 60% of your brain is built from fatty acids, like omega-3. So studies show that omega-3 helps with anxiety. 20% reduction in anxiety.
Yeah. Actually, like omega-3, like I am a huge proponent of. Not just because of this episode, but like I take 4 pills a day of omega-3s, and I don't think it's just omega-3s. Like it has a combination of omega-3, 6, and 9. I can link you guys like the where I buy from Amazon. If you guys are curious, just message on the DM us on the podcast, and I can send you guys the exact one that I buy. And but so there's so many studies that show like different benefits. One, it helps with all these mental issues, not just stress and anxiety like we're talking about, but also with Alzheimer's, with dementia, with basically they've shown that it helps with all of these aging mental problems, because these fatty acids in the omega-3 is basically giving your brain more layers and layers of like this fat that it needs in there. And it also helps with your metabolism. It helps with if you're like trying to maybe possibly lose weight, it's going to help you with that, because it's going to help you maintain your cravings at a low level, because the fat is being slowly digested by your stomach. So your stomach is feeling fulfilled for longer, especially if you take it with food, like with a meal, or if you take it with some sort of supplement. It absorbs so much better. So I'm going on a tangent here, but like I love omega-3s, like it's amazing.
And then there's CBD.
Another one, very similar in the way it works.
We're CBD crazy in this family.
I mean, I would say me more, because I take like a double dose every day.
He takes it a lot. My dad's rubbing it all over his knees.
I got our dad into it, because it's so great. So CBD, it will not get you high. Let's just get that out there.
My nail lady said, she's like, that's CBD. So bad. Like,
first of all, I buy
everyone's high.
Like first, I buy mine online. So obviously you can't buy THC products online in America. Like that's not allowed. So it has no THC in it. The brand that I buy, completely not affiliated, is Pure Spectrum CBD. I think purespectrumcbd.com is their website, or there's like cbdmd.com. They're all like THC free, and those websites are like one of the best, because you have to make sure that your CBD is the pure spectrum kind, because there's a lot of CBDs that have the very important compounds filtered out, because it's cheaper to make it that way. However, the legit places, the ones where like it might be like slightly a little bit more expensive, the reason is because they've made it the legit way, where all those important compounds that help with inflammation, help with stress, anxiety, they're all in there. So like that's the reason we're saying take CBD, is because it helps with inflammation, lowering all that down.
And all cysters have inflammation. That's like the root issue for mainly most people with PCOS, it starts with inflammation. So the more you do about inflammation, CBD, omega-3s, gluten and dairy-free, everything we're saying, the better off your hormones are going to be.
Yeah. And it's also like it calms you down. So like it's gonna give you a state of like calmness and like being like just relaxed. And not like you're high. It's just more like your brain is in a a relaxed state.
Yeah. What do you think of the gummies?
Yeah, I remember one time you got us the gummies and I liked it, but like the thing is, I don't know like if it's like the pure spectrum kind, and I don't know if it was a high dose. Like it was 10 milligrams, and like now I take one where it's like 50 milligrams each dose.
Oh.
I like that more because it's like, like more, you're getting more CBD, whereas a gummy, it's like this little thing. I don't feel like it does enough.
I thought I would take the gummies.
Oh yeah, it worked for you.
I thought it worked for me.
But
I
because,
thought
yeah,
it
you're not
gave me
used
like
to
an
a higher
instant
dose,
little
yeah.
boost of like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm fine.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's like this gummy THC, not
Yeah.
THC, CBD ones as well.
And we were wedding planning around that time when I had those gummies. And I was like, I thought I was fine, but I was in a state of stress. I tend to like think that I'm fine when I'm not.
Yeah.
And that really helped with like calming me down.
So those are like some of the supplements you can take, but there's also like things you can do yourself, physically, mentally. So like, Tanya, you want to mention like why circadian rhythm is so important?
Girl, if you have PCOS, circadian rhythm needs to be in the back of your mind at all times. So this is basically your sleep. Are you sleeping at night and just okay, your body has a rhythm, okay? And that's why we have eating times and sleeping times and a pattern that we need to stick to at all times so that the proper hormones are released at the proper times in the proper amounts. And like at night, certain things happen to your body. During the day, certain things happen to your body. So in order for everything to stay in balance and in rhythm of the order that it needs to be, we have to make sure that our circadian rhythm is correct. So how do you do that? Sleeping between 11 and 7 o'clock really helps for your hormonal balance. If you can't do that, then you have to work on it by doing certain things during the day. So that's doing an earlier workout, not drinking coffee, going on a walk in the morning and having those like morning rays of light wake you up, because they're different than the evening rays of light that help you actually calm down. So these, going on a little walk here and there, eating at the right times. I cannot stress this enough, like breakfast, lunch, dinner. If you're doing intermittent fasting and it's working for you, go for it. But I'm just saying, like, these meal times are also really important for your insulin levels. And so that's a hormone that's released more and less depending on like what time you eat. So if you eat in a certain pattern, in a certain rhythm, then that hormone is going to be released at the right times and not over released when you eat a huge meal and not anything during the day. Yeah. Like some people don't eat anything during the day, then a huge dinner. So all bad. This insulin is released. So bad. It's so bad for your hormones. That's not how it should work in your body. So
your metabolism, your hormones, everything. That's like one of the...
Yeah. Suddenly you're like storing all of it as fat because you're not going to burn it. And so on.
And this like such an interesting thing that Talian said, like our body does like these crazy things that we don't even realize. When you wake up and the sun hits your body, your body knows it's the sun, so it releases these hormones to wake you up eventually and to put you in a state of the right mood to start your day. And then like as you're going throughout your day, when you have lunch, it knows from where the sun is, like as your day is going, and when it's nighttime, it's releasing like melatonin and other hormones to kind of put you in the state of sleep. And like when you eat dinner, same thing. So
when you're staring at your cell phone at like 11 o'clock at night, that's triggering your body to think that it's still sunshine and you should still be awake. And that's why they have night shift and night shift glasses to make sure that your body isn't being triggered at the wrong time. So when you put those on at night, it's to say it's time to wind down.
Yeah. And that's why it's important basically is to get in a consistent sleeping rhythm, circadian rhythm, just so your body is like on that nice schedule.
Exactly.
And like kind of related to this is a little bit related is like working out and like possibly things like the regular sauna is kind of taking the energy out of your brain. Like all this, like sometimes we have stress and anxiety because we overthink, because we're sitting all day at the office working, and we're not just getting our body to move and like things. So you just need to work out right. So we mentioned earlier over exercising. So if you just work out right, that by itself is going to help reduce a lot of the stress and anxiety, getting that energy out of your brain, because it's all pent up in there.
Yeah, exactly. Or controlling your mind through meditation.
Yes.
And like you said, sauna, just like it shuts your mind down a little bit. And even having like a focus phrase or some type of mantra that keeps your mind right, because even those stressful thoughts are going to trigger stress hormones, and the whole thing with cortisol, like you said, it's gonna cause your cell regeneration to shut down. Like if you're constantly in a state of stress, thinking stressful thoughts and talking negatively to yourself and all of this, it's going to be even harder to lose weight, because you are literally pumping cortisol, which causes fat to hang out in your stomach area. So what I'm saying is, if you think right, just by thinking, you could lose weight.
Yeah, meditation is like really good. And if you don't know how to start meditating, like me and Tyne had no idea how to meditate, start with one of the apps like on your phone. Like we use Headspace.
Yeah.
There's Calm. There's a bunch of other ones. There's free options. There's paid options. Whatever you do, try to find the app, because that will really teach you how to do it, and you'll be surprised. Like my first time, I was like, okay, this is cool. And then the second time I realized how much better I felt, that I was addicted to it.
Yeah. And now, like 10 minutes before we even started this podcast, he was on his reverse table thing doing a 10-minute meditation upside down.
Yeah, my inversion table. Yeah, it hangs you upside down so that your spine stretches. And then while I do that, I do meditation. So I should actually maybe talk about what that is. So inversion table, why do I use it? So
we have scoliosis.
we have scoliosis. A lot of people have scoliosis, which is like a slight bend in your spine. It's like a common thing now these days. And but like even for everybody, why an inversion table can be beneficial is, so every day when you sit, even when you stand, your spine is being compressed. Like just to the simple effect of gravity is pulling our bodies down, right? So like your spine every day gets compressed a certain amount. However, when you sleep, your body is actually able to decompress, and you get like 99.999% of that length back. However, over time, over time, that just adds up, that compression. And that's why, like, if you've noticed, people who are maybe older, like, in their 80s, 90s, they're usually like a little scrunched up, like an accordion.
Shorter.
Like an accordion a little bit.
Their spine is like an accordion.
And like the reason really is because they've just been their spine have been compressed over time. All this sitting, all this standing, all this like just constant gravity pulling on their spine, and
you want to reverse it.
Yeah, that's why I do an inversion table, is like to reverse that myself, and the studies show that it really helps with that, and it actually helps with blood circulation too, because your blood just completely rushes to your brain. So it's just something I've been using, and not related to this at all, but
Sirak is very good at self-care. Like,
I try to find
since the day I've met you, you've made time for stress management, for inversion table.
That's why I have so much to say about all these things that could go hours.
This should be an hour long.
Because like all these things that we're talking about, like I know personally before this like the PCOS topic came into my life with Tallinn.
Yeah.
Because I just was so much into self-care and all this stuff. So I'm so glad that, like, I'm here with Tallinn now.
You've developed the habits of doing most of the things on this list, the CBD, the omega-3s, the rituals of meditation and things like this. It's a habit that you have to form over time, and we're telling you all of these things. Just choose one and start with that. Like, you'll just get used to it. You'll see the benefits, and then you'll keep doing it.
And we didn't mention a couple of other supplements. You could look at them as supplements. Is essential oils, lavender
that's
oil.
Not a supplement, but you can put that in a diffuser and sniff it.
Exactly. Lavender oil has sedative qualities, so like when you take a bath or get a diffuser, it'll really help.
And then there's green tea, it has L-theanine in it. It's a compound that studies have shown helps you stay calm. And so you can also take an L-theanine supplement if you don't like green tea. So typically people take 200 milligrams twice daily in supplement form. I've taken the supplement. I really like it. I mean, anything that will continue to boost my inflammation and stress, I'll take, because no matter what you do, you're still going to experience stress. This is like a normal part of living. And so you really want to combat it with the right thing. So L-theanine is something that helps with that.
Yeah. And B vitamins, very essential for stress management, energy, and like your neurotransmitter balance. We mentioned earlier with meat, it contains B12 and other amino acids. So like B vitamins, very important for those neurotransmitters that relate to stress and anxiety and adrenal fatigue. And of course, for energy as well.
Yes.
Yeah, that really caps off all the stuff about adrenal fatigue, stress, anxiety. But let's not forget, we never do, our
win of the week.
Yeah, our sister of the week, as I like to call it.
Sister of the week, Lillian. She DM'd me. She sent me a before and after. And she sent this awesome message, babe. Do you want to read it?
Okay. 2 months, she says. In 2 months of being gluten and dairy free and taking back my health, I've lost 22 pounds, seen a normal cycle, and now, after almost 2.5 years of an infertility journey that came after a second trimester miscarriage, I am pregnant with our rainbow miracle. That's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
Good job, Lillian. I'm so happy for you. And I think in this picture right here, I see them holding a baby.
Yeah, well, guess what? She adopted a child.
They adopted as well. That's right. I remember this
she was, because she realized, this infertility journey is so challenging, and that, or whatever, triggered them to adopt a child. Boom, she got pregnant after going gluten and dairy free, regulating her periods. That's so getting a normal cycle and all of this.
Yeah, and she had like a 2.5 year journey. And had some tough times, and like we're so glad you kept going. Like that's the toughest part. You
trusted us, and you went gluten and dairy free, and for 2 months. And she in this message she wrote, "I've lost 22 pounds," but later she DM'd me and she said she hit her 30-pound goal. Wow, that's amazing.
That's great. I'm gonna end up crying one day on the podcast.
I swear.
Sometimes Colleen sends me like testimonials via text when I'm at my other engineering job, and like I'll read it and I'm like, oh my, I'm gonna like tear up sometimes at where like it's so nice the things that people say, that you ladies say. Like one, to my wife, it always makes me happy that my wife is doing like this wonderful thing to the community. But then when I read my name in there, I get so happy. Like on top of that, tenfold maybe. Then like it's an amazing experience that we're all in right now.
Seriously, we're really amazed at the power of social media and being able to reach all of you sisters out there who are struggling with PCOS and not finding a platform that you can relate to that's really giving you a solution to it. Yeah. And we're so blessed to be able to touch your lives. Yeah. So keep sending us these wonderful messages that seriously make our days.
Yeah, really do. Really do. Well, thank you for joining us on this episode.
Yes.
I mean, we started this one out pretty tired, but I feel really energetic now. Like, this is great. We should just continue for a whole other hour.
Let's keep babbling. So what are you guys going to do now? You're going to light a candle. You're going to order some supplements. Yeah. You're going to plan your gluten and dairy-free meals.
Yeah. And just keep your head straight, meditating, clear thoughts, and just getting your mantra, picking a mantra, getting that in your head, and just kind of doing it one day at a time.
Piece to the puzzle of the weight loss journey. Stress management.
Yeah. Alrighty. We'll see you all next week. We hope you have a great week, and
talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, if you enjoyed listening to this podcast, you have to check out our upcoming course, Meal Prep and Workout for PCOS Weight Loss. We've got 4 weeks worth of video content that will help you learn to cook our quick gluten and dairy-free recipes and also feel great with our PCOS-friendly workouts. Learn to live the PCOS lifestyle and lose weight with our guidance and help. Link in the description.